So hello everyone, welcome to this episode of the Gibraltar Business Podcast. I'm your host, David Revagliatte, and this show is coming to you from the Leisure Cinemas here in Gibraltar. So we've skipped the usual studio at the GFSB to be here because we're going to be talking about something very special today. And actually it's a subject that is very close to my heart. We've talked about it on the show many times before, and it's having a real boom at the moment, and that is AI, artificial intelligence. But specifically, the conversation today is about content generation and its use and increasing use in developing campaigns, film, and all sorts of things that we're seeing on social media, everywhere else as well. So I'm delighted to welcome Stuart Whitwell to the conversation. Stu,
great
we
to
meet
be
again.
We do, yeah. It's not the first time. Just fantastic.
As you know, as I mentioned, we're talking about AI in content generation, creative campaigns. You've just set up an agency, haven't you, called Bundle. Tell us about that.
That's right. So I'm currently the managing director of a creative agency called Creative Rockstars. And we've been working using kind of traditional methods for the best part of 5 years, motion graphics for TV commercials, filming, things like that, graphic design, copywriting. And that really much hasn't changed too much. What's changed is the technology now that's allowing us to do things of a more enhanced capability where we'd usually have to go to a studio in London or Hollywood to get major productions done. And so what's happened there with AI technology, particularly generative AI, which has literally been released in the last 18 months. Now, anyone who's got a creative brain, in fact, just anyone can produce fantastic, stunning visuals, fantastic, stunning video. So the likes of people like ourselves who are creative thinkers can bring to life fantastic stories now with pretty much no barrier and very low budgets. We can then decide to use a TV campaign. We're going to produce an animation. We're going to make a short film. Or we're going to produce a massive poster. Why not? So traditionally, rather than actually using a studio to produce that, in fact, we still use the studio, but the studio are now enhanced by these super tools, which means we can produce things faster, higher quality, and ultimately at a lower cost. So we set up Vandal Productions as a little sister company of Creative Rockstars, and that is a dedicated AI studio. And what we're doing there is experimenting with latest tech. We're using that to tell stories. We're making films already that have been up for a couple of awards, which is interesting.
I want to come back to that in a sec.
We'll definitely come back to that for sure. We're producing TV commercials without cameras, without actors, which is a real game changer. Some challenges there for sure, and we're seeing technology improve week by week to produce that. And we're also using AI to help us think. So we've got an idea, and usually what we have is a bit of a green room or a round table, if you like, where you have copywriters and designers and creative leads all conceptualizing what the story is going to be. Now we've added an AI element to that to the table, and what that's doing is it's helping us thinking perhaps more broadly. So we can then produce a story at high speed, produce an ad at high speed, release the concept for it, a storyboard for it, a mood board for it, a script for it, and then go and produce it. It's a really exciting time. It's like a sort of renaissance, and it's a very, very strong word, but it really is a step change in creative production.
It does feel, as someone who creates content, works in communications, looks at campaigns for different clients, it does seem like it is changing the rules.
Yep, the rules and the roles, which is really fascinating. And what I mean by that is that we've just come back from a conference in Malaga called the Upscale Conference, which is probably Europe's leading AI conference, generative AI conference. So the best generative AI artists, if you like, filmmakers were all there. And we were mingling with them, finding out what their processes were, how they run their studios, because that's been really beneficial to help us understand how we set up Vandal Productions. And what we're seeing is a whole new suite of creative roles. Human roles, still roles for people, but instead of a designer, for example, or a copywriter, now you get a role which is called a creative engineer. And what that is a person who can think, who can use AI to prompt and bring things to life, who can use digital design tools, who can use motion graphics tools, pretty much your own cinematic director in one person. They can use AI to facilitate in bringing bits of a story to life.
I think I have heard when you look at campaigns or big projects that primarily look to communicate or sell, a lot of it is, there used to be a role called the creative director, and I guess this is a bit of an offshoot from that, right?
Totally. I think as AI becomes more and more utilized, it's still, at that conference they were saying everyone in this room, there's 1,000 people in that room where there's 0.001% of the creatives in the world using AI. It really is small, even though we're seeing it everywhere. But the reality is, as the AI technology gets better and better and better, there will be more uses for it, and it will then become a suite of tools that get used in Hollywood production, in London film production, in graphic design, in TV advertising, TV and animation production. So what will happen is you will eventually have your sound designers, your editors, your all kind of similar roles to what you had, all but using AI technology to expedite their work, make it better. But right now, what we're really seeing, which is very exciting, is that there's a lot of small studios, sometimes one-man studios. Who've got an idea for a great story, and they've got the capability to bring it to life by being the creative director, by being the writer, the producer, and ultimately the person that then generates it, edits it, and delivers it.
Stu, you mentioned a great story and a great idea, and that brings us back why we are here in the Leisure Centre Cinema. Tell us about this film that you've produced that has also been shortlisted for awards, right?
2 awards now, which is...
Congratulations.
Thank you. So there are AI film festivals around the world that have been appearing over the last year. And so we released our first AI film. It's a short film, 10 minutes long. And really, intention was to start creating short films in order to teach ourselves how to use the technology. It's a lot of fun. So what we didn't want to do is necessarily start with something small. We thought, how fast can we push it? And perhaps too soon, I don't know. But we thought, okay, what's the craziest thing we can think of right now? A Formula One race would be pretty impressive to bring to life, where you've got...
And very popular at the moment.
High action, speed, I think really some fantastic visuals. And if you mix that then with dinosaurs chasing the cars, it's a wacky adventure. It's pretty crazy. But really what it is us testing AI capability to see, can we actually do this? Because we couldn't do it before. Not without a major Hollywood studio backing us.
Exactly, but it kind of proves the nominations proof that you can and you could do it. And the fact that we're doing it here in Gibraltar is epic, right, as well?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's totally a level playing field happening right now. So creative directors, anyone that's got a great idea, and you don't even have to be creative.
Well, I don't know about that. I do feel that you can generate content, but it's still about very much, and I think maybe it's my bias of where I come from, but I still think you need that idea. You need someone to think, right, Formula One, dinosaurs, fire. I won't give any spoilers. Watch the video. Oh, but I do that back. But talk about the level playing field and how we in Gibraltar could influence more global narrative.
I think you're right. So ultimately the difference between anyone using AI to bring together some funny video online, and which you're seeing hundreds of them at the moment, versus something that actually feels really artistic and really, really good to watch, is that creative strategy, that creative thinking. If you've got a creative brain, now all you're doing is applying that to a new set of tools that are enabling you to bring things to life. That really is where the level playing field comes in. What I mean by AI being accessible to everybody is that pretty much there's no barrier now. Anyone can sign up to an AI platform and generate funny things, and we're seeing that already. At the same time, what I believe that does is it puts pressure on the major studios and the storytellers to go, right, we've got to be better than this to make sure our content rises to the top of people that can actually see it. So therefore what happens is you're then seeing talent having to be developed in absolutely new ways with new technology, but very much an old school thinking, which is why I mentioned storytelling quite a lot, because it seems really like an odd word to use when you're talking about technology. Storytelling.
Absolutely, if you haven't got a good story.
It's all about the idea, the story, the script, the narrative, bringing that to life using new technology, or bringing it to life. Filming, hybrid technology, where you can film and add AI to it as well. That's beautiful. Through animation. It comes down to the story now and not the tech.
Of course, look, story is a word that I love, you love. Some of our listeners are across business community here in Gib. They might be running businesses. Why do you think they should be interested in AI video right now?
I think there's going to be a wave in 2026 where the majority of video advertising is created using AI. From an accessibility perspective, but also from a capability perspective, because now you can produce TV ads very quickly. Our studio Vinyl are producing TV commercials within a week, 2 weeks, from conception to completion. Some using real people that we're filming and then adding AI backgrounds or replacing that performance of the person. The actor has been filmed, an AI avatar if you like, or some things that are completely produced with AI. What that does for smaller businesses, if you like, that haven't got the budget to go to a major London studio or Madrid studio, it means that actually you can have premium looking advertising so accessible at low cost. I think that's going to be the wave, and that's partly also given by the fact that technology for AI is developing so fast. If you're going to make a major motion picture, what will happen in 2 months' time is new technology will come out that'll be better than the technology you're using, and you have to reshoot the film again and again and again.
I guess this is it, because I've been using this medium. I've created some videos for a couple of clients. I did another one very recently, and already the technology is moving on.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's designed for short form content.
I think eventually it might, well, I hope it settles on a standard. It's feeling so cinematic now that the film that we actually have nominated for a couple of awards, which was produced several months ago, when I look at it now, I can see the difference in the work we're producing already today and the increase in quality that we're getting. It moves so fast that I think advertising seems like a low-hanging fruit, right? A really kind of easy subject to be able to use, and social media also, I think, will play a huge part in AI
dissemination.
Absolutely.
Looking now towards the future, what from a creative and someone who has a creative agency, what excites you the most about this now?
And what's exciting me the most, and we're having a lot of fun in this space, we still do our traditional day-to-day product design, advertising, marketing, brand development, all that kind of stuff. But we're always looking for ways in which to use technology to help us think, help us execute, elevate the level of the work that we normally produce, speed it up perhaps. So that's really, really exciting. We're finding that now actually it's so fast-paced that you can't help but be excited. And new things are coming out every single week.
But that does feel, if you're running a small business, it might feel overwhelming for them. So
It would do. My advice to anyone in the creative space is to get involved now. You don't let it take over what you're doing. What I mean by that really is that the quality of AI and the tools that are becoming available are so accessible right now, but if you move fast to adopt it early and become an expert in it, then actually the quality of your work will improve. And also you'll probably find that your client base is actually looking for that elevated quality because they're seeing that across every channel that you're looking at. TV advertising is already using AI. This Christmas, the new Coca-Cola advert has been produced using entirely AI technology. So I think if you're in that creative space, if you're a cinematographer, a graphic designer, a motion graphics designer, now is the time to get involved. Not because there's a fear factor.
there is a fear factor, but it's looking at the opportunity within it, right?
There is. And I think one of the key messages is that a lot of people are thinking AI is going to take their jobs in the creative space. I believe the reality is different. I don't think AI will take a creative's job. I believe another creative using AI will take that creative's job. And that's quite a statement, because what AI does is it enables a really strong creative to be supercharged. Really good creatives using AI are going to be even better. Poor creatives are just going to be faster, but they'll still be poor creatives. So the technology is there now. Not everyone's an early adopter. And there are people who are cynical about it and will sit on the fence until they see it actually kind of land. But if you study what's actually happening, the quality levels are moving so fast. The production we're seeing now is so strong that now is the time to get involved, experiment with it.
And also it's landed. I think it's landing, it's actually here. So I think that's a message to listeners as well, is knowing that we've got a real opportunity here in Gibraltar to kind of, there's a level playing field right now, get involved. And if you haven't experimented, I guess, with AI video, now is your time to do so, right?
And I think the why Gibraltar question is an interesting one too, because it's almost like a why not. The level playing field means actually the monopoly that the studios had in the past is being challenged. It's totally being challenged. And now if you've got a great idea, you can produce it. And maybe you haven't got technology to produce the final product, but you can certainly bring together a pitch video that you could send to the likes of Netflix. And that's happening already. We know people in the States who are working on pitch videos. They're producing themselves with a minimum investment, and Netflix are already backing them. So really now, if you've got a good idea, you can bring it to life in some capacity to be able to show it to someone. Historically, you'd have to show someone a script. You'd have to show someone a series of storyboards that would take months to produce.
And you'd have to have links also. What about networks? You'd have to have links to the industry themselves.
Correct.
So you'd still need them, but you can produce it in somewhere like Gibraltar.
That's really true. There's a handful of AI cinematographers, engineers, if you like, that we know, that now have full-time jobs producing films off the back of some experimentation they did that they put online that went viral. Hollywood studios have contacted them to say, actually, we want to bring that story to life. Major investors around the world have gone, actually, we think we'd like to invest in you to bring your story to life however you want to. We're seeing that quite a lot. Met a lot of these guys in Malaga.
Well, sure, that's really nice. It's almost like, is that a premonition of the future? And it's something that maybe your film could be kind of going that way too, right?
We hope so. We've got Vandal Productions is a small studio with tons of ideas and massive capability. It can be the equivalent of what you'd see in LA and Hollywood, with a bit of investment, with the right people. We've got the stories, the creativity. The location doesn't matter anymore, so why not do it from a place like Gibraltar, which is becoming a bit of an AI hub anyway. We're talking about a data center. Well, other businesses are looking at moving here. Malaga is also a bit of a tech hub too, and it's just around the corner. So there's really no reason why not Gibraltar. Yeah. And historically, from a creative perspective, we've always had a really, really strong creative community. So the fact is now, new technology is going to help us enable that as a driver. We can now tell what stories we want. It's fantastic.
Stu, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you for inviting us.
If you've liked today's episode, make sure you give us a subscribe and follow and tell your friends too.